You have to be all around them, all over them, but not pushing them, not pulling them. You have to let them stumble upon you. You have to let people tell them about you. So probably the best way is the most effective way, and not necessarily a reach kind of way or a frequency kind of way in the past. That means the effective way is somewhere where somebody they really trust is going to say, hey, did you see the, or, oh, I got one of those. And it's that instant confirmation from somebody you trust. That's nothing new. The sort of word of mouth, peer-to-peer confirmation is a very old thing. But I think you have so many more ways of doing that now, and so many other perils in doing that badly. Because if you come in a ham-handed way into social media, for example, and just treat it like a sales channel, you get massacred. Mm-hmm. So at the same time that you have so many new ways that you can talk to them, make new friends, engage, you have many other ways where you can be a phony. And so the whole authenticity to it, which becomes more and more of a buzzword, but it's dead true, the authenticity of trying to be able to talk to consumers through people they like and trust is both a whole emerging and wonderful area and one fraught with peril. The challenge is not treat them like channels. Because channels may come and go, or individual platforms may come and go. And I think the challenge is to look more profoundly at what's happening under that in terms of community building, in terms of behavioral economics phenomena such as homophily, where people are sort of birds of a feather trying to find each other. And one of the great ironies of the internet is as it becomes wider and wider, it becomes narrower and narrower. So as you have every kind of unbelievable facet known to human and unknown to humankind, you have people exactly like yourself you gravitate toward. So it's this conundrum that you're trying to juggle on the one hand. I think that teaching people that underneath it all, it has to be still a great story. And it doesn't matter what format, it doesn't matter whether it's a Twitter, a Foursquare. What's the story there? Why would I, and beyond a kind of stunt where I talk about it once, what brings me back? So for me, for Twitter, for example, I tweet, but I've refused to tell anybody about myself because I don't think it's particularly interesting. I come from a news background, so I use it as a kind of curiosity newswire. Things as I travel maybe 30,000 miles a month, if I stumble upon a piece of research or something kind of ironic or cool or funny, I might contribute that. And I think that's a form of respect that's missing in a lot of social media, respect for other people's time. Instead of just this dump of saying, you know, here's where I am, here's what I did. So I think that the challenge in working our way effectively through social media is actually having respect for people's time and respect for a story well told. It's really not about the volume and really not about the noise. And I'll give you a very specific example. If you look at a metric of influence on Twitter, it's the follower-followed ratio. So in other words, it's possible for me to have 100,000 followers if I solicit and ask for reciprocal following. And it's possible for me to actually have me to follow more people than follow me. And so that's not very influential. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I follow 1,000 people, but only 20 people follow me. Well, I'm lonely, but I have no influence. If it's the other way around, where I only follow 20 people, but 1,000 people follow me, well, then I'm highly influential. So I think one of the things that's coming out of this is it's not just a matter of connecting, not just a matter of noise, but looking at what might be a true metric of influence. Does anybody want to hear from you? That's age-old. The rise of mobile or location-based or app-based, does not solve the problem of emotion, but it could. In and of itself, it's not the solution. It's back again to how you, in some brilliant way, take this app or take mobile or take location-based technology and do something that tickles my brain with it, that makes me think, oh, that's really cool. And more than that I'll tell somebody about it. And more than that I'll actually use it more than once. So in and of themselves, they're not that important. It's what's important, and this is where you see, hundreds of thousands of apps but which ones are really the ones that people, find that they really make a huge difference for them? I think one of the most interesting things, again, as I said a moment ago about convergence, where you have bare wires arcing, is when you think about augmented reality. And I think this has a tremendous, and this really is the tricorder from Star Trek. The augmented reality as you look through your phone, so as you're a tourist, but what happens if you maybe have an emergency? Or what happens if you're, there are so many business applications you can imagine with that. So I think this layering of information over the real world, as opposed to escaping from the real world like a second life, this layering of information over the real world with collaborative filtering of communities, that's a pretty cool thing. And I think that has a lot of legs.